Player in league history to win the MVP, the scoring title, and the championship in the same year. We're talking Kareem, Jordan, and Shaq. If OKC is to close it out, they'll have to play better on the road. They're 5-4 as visitors in this postseason, averaging nearly 13 fewer points per game than they do at home, where they are 10-2. And as for the Pacers, all eyes will be on Tyrese Haliburton's calf. He was 0 for 6 from the floor in Game 5. Yesterday, he talked about how smart he needs to be handling the injury.
I think I have to be as smart as I want to be. I have to understand the risks, ask the right questions. But I'm a competitor. I want to play. I'm going to do everything in my power to play, and that's just what it is. But, I mean, I think the answer to that is dependent on who you ask.
Okay, so let's dive into this here. We will have Markieff Morris with us shortly. We're having a little trouble with his communications, and I wanted to get Harry in it as well, just to get an athlete's perspective on the pressure that another player will feel in a game of this magnitude. But Brian Windhorst, I will start with you there, of course. What can you tell us up to the minute on Haliburton's injury?
Well, the Pacers have the MRI that he had done on Tuesday, and with that information, they still listed him yesterday as questionable and a game-time decision. And if you list somebody as a game-time decision in a finals elimination game, I don't know any situation where you wouldn't play in there. So they are setting the stage for Haliburton to play. So the mystery really is, how effective will he be? And I'm not sure anybody knows that. Certainly the Thunder will probably test him early, and as a backup plan, the Pacers will have several different game plans. But the Thunder will have several different game plans as well, especially as it relates potentially to TJ McConnell, who was so effective against them in a backup role in Game 5.
So, Monica, let's talk about what you will be looking for. Watching the warm-ups tonight, I would assume we'll learn a lot from that as he will warm up and try and get ready to go. What will you be watching for tonight?
How well is he moving? I mean, think about Tyrese Haliburton's game, right? He keeps his dribble alive. He's moving east to west as well as north to south. Like, there has to be a level of pop. If he can't get through warm-ups, then I would think you probably don't even start him and let the Pacers roll with their plan B. And that way you can go ahead and develop the chemistry, the expectation that you don't have your guy to get today, and everybody else can adjust accordingly.
I can tell you that were Markieff Morris with us right now, what he would say, because he said it in our production meeting this morning, is that he would want to know before the game begins, which is to say, if in the warm-ups, Tyrese Haliburton looks significantly compromised, then he would prefer he not play at all. And he brought up some examples of this, including Anthony Davis. I think we have that video. Markieff was on the team with the Lakers when Anthony Davis was sort of trying to give it a go in a playoff game once upon a time with a groin injury. He felt it tweak early in the game, went out, and it wound up being a blow to his team. So he would rather know. This is the game that we're talking about and the play that we're talking about. This was Anthony Davis and the Lakers. They were the defending champs at this time, and Markieff was on this team. And so Anthony Davis, you see that. Markieff is essentially saying it's worse to start the game with a guy and then find out he can't go. You're better off just saying, okay, this is who we have, this is all we got, and let's try and figure out the game plan.
Earlier this week, though, Greeny and Wendy, I'll offer this to you. I understand where Keith is coming from in that, but we talked about history in basketball, the Willis Reed game, right? Like, can you play long enough or give your team one big shot to kind of energize at home at Indiana, and then we'll carry the cape for you the rest of the way? I have no problem with Markieff's argument in this, but I also kind of see a flip side of the coin if you can just get one good play. Now, of course, best case scenario for the Pacers, he's able to play this entire game.
Right, and that's what we'll be watching. And I wanted to just get a quick take from Harry on this, if I could. You know, football is a different sport where every game has such elevated meaning, but then you get into the playoffs and others where they mean even more. Can you just, from a player's perspective, describe what you think the emotions he is going through tonight, the pressure that he feels to play for his team, for his city, for his sport, for his legacy, and everything else?
Yeah, there's probably a million things going through the mind of Tyrese Haliburton right now at this juncture in the season where you're 2 games away from winning the NBA championship. And for people that don't understand this, for a professional athlete, you know, you are accustomed to training your brain and your body to deal with discomfort and to play hurt. And sometimes guys have the mental capacity to play injured. But this is a dicey situation for Haliburton, because if you go out there and you injure yourself in a more tumultuous way, then now you're talking about the 2025-2026 season for the Indiana Pacers now going down the drain, in which we think the Boston Celtics are in that capacity now. You look at also Damian Lillard with the Milwaukee Bucks. You look at Joel Embiid that can't be healthy. So you don't want him to go out there and then next thing you know, it becomes an Achilles, and then things moving forward for your basketball team are not looking on the up and up. But for Tyrese Haliburton, it's going to have to take Rick Carlisle. It's going to have to take the front office, everybody in there to save him from himself if he cannot go, to make sure he doesn't hurt himself or hurt this organization moving forward.
I think we all agree, Harry, that it's on the health staff, the training staff, and Rick Carlisle ultimately. But I just kind of, you guys get hurt out of the blue too, right? And so I think if you're going to go, you got to put the concept of injury behind you. Now, I completely understand weighing out the evaluation of whether you're doing more damage potentially, but he's 25. The offseason is around the corner. Like, you can't guarantee you get back to this moment.
Absolutely. There's two separate pieces to this, Windman, right? There's the can he go at all? And you've already made the point that by listing him as they have, they're suggesting he's healthy enough that he is. They're not concerned that putting him on the floor is putting him at significant jeopardy. The second piece is the more complicated one, and that is, can he help them? I'm thinking back to a game when, man, last year, Game 7, Knicks-Pacers, OG Anunoby tried to give it a go with a hamstring. He could barely even walk. I mean, Monica's having PTSD just thinking about it. But and you came on our show the next day, Windman, and you said you thought that just the minutes that he played trying to give it a go really hurt the Knicks because it gave the Pacers such an advantage. So those are the things that I will be keeping an eye on tonight.
Yeah, and he is their franchise player. They have a complete medical staff that are going to make sure that they feel like they're making the best decision. But, you always hear in the regular season, if this was a playoff game, a guy would play. If this was a regular season game, Haliburton would probably miss multiple games. This is a special scenario, and that is being treated and weighed into this.
All right, so we've got the two issues here. We got the Haliburton, then we have the can they stay alive. Let's get to the Stephen A. Oh, bless you. Let's get to the Stephen A. of it all here if we can. The Windman hasn't been home in 2 months. Man,
great work, Wendy.
Cut him some slack. Let's get to the Stephen A. of it all. Stephen A. yesterday, the whole world has already handed the trophy to the Oklahoma City Thunder, but the whole world is not Stephen A. Smith.
It's hard for me to imagine, even with the way Shai Gilgeous and Jalen Williams are looking, and they look absolutely sensational right now as a dynamic duo. It is something special to behold. It's impressive, no doubt. But you're asking me if Indiana can get a game. I believe they can. I believe they win tomorrow night, and they push this to a Game 7.
He's not the only person we've had say that. Alan Hahn said the same thing here yesterday. Monica, what do you think?
I got OKC closing this out in 6, and that is not, I would not bet on that, though. I think that's what's going to happen, but I totally respect the way that the Pacers have gotten to this point in the postseason. They are the sum of their parts. Their collective plays well at home. Look at the heroic efforts that they've had at different points this postseason where guys play out of their minds to help them get wins. Nesmith's 6 3-pointers in the fourth quarter in Game 1 versus the Knicks comes to mind. And so I totally understand where Stephen A. is. I just think that Shai and Jalen and those guys have graduated a level. I think they close it out.
And Wendy, while I wouldn't ask you to make a pick, I will ask you the question this way. If tomorrow morning we are right back here in this spot talking about a Game 7 that most people don't expect to be, what will we be saying? Oh, bless you. What will we be saying? Can we get the man a box of tissues, please, in the Indianapolis hotel? What will we be saying is the reason that there is a Game 7 coming?
Well, I know why we're all talking about Haliburton, because obviously that's the story with their star player being injured. But what's really happened over these last 2 games is that the Thunder look like they have found a game plan that's very successful. What I mean is going back to the starting lineup with the double bigs, Isaiah Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren, and then using Holmgren as a switch big man late in the game, and finding a way to get an incredibly effective 2-man game with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Jalen Williams. Williams playing point guard for parts of the game, and then later on using as the screener. 71 points in the last game. The 3 of them or the two of them have both averaged over 30 points the last 3 games. Even if the Pacers were fully healthy, the big concern here is the momentum that the Thunder have been building over the last couple of games.
All right, so Wendy will be watching all that action for us tonight, and let's bring Joe Fortenbaugh into the conversation for the first of what will be many times today. He is our betting expert, ESPN Bet Sportsbook, and he is here in our studio looking ahead to Game 6 with his best bets. So much uncertainty surrounding Haliburton tonight. How are you handling that?
Where can we find the closest thing to certainty? Tyrese Haliburton not showing up in the first quarter, that's how you bet it. Under 3.5 points, under 1.5 rebounds. Greeny, even when healthy, he's struggling in a big way in the first quarter, averaging less than 3 points per game, averaging less than 2 rebounds per game in the first. But he does average about 10 minutes, and that's the key here. Because on that leg, do you think he's going to be on his normal rotations? I don't think he's going to play as many minutes as we've seen. And on top of the fact that Lou Dort has absolutely been shutting him down, I think you do what we've been doing the whole way. You bet against Haliburton in the first, and with him being injured, it gives us a better opportunity.
To be clear for the folks who don't speak gambling, in the event you make that bet and he doesn't play at all, what happens?
All bets refunded. Anything you bet on Haliburton, if he does not go tonight, all bets are refunded. If he plays for 1 second and then is yanked, all bets are action. Those
are the notes, and we'll have much more from Joe all day with his best bets on all the hoops and the golf, too, and much more. Coming up, Travis Kelce has weighed in on the ring, and not the one the world is eagerly awaiting. He's talking about a different one, and you need to hear what he's saying. Plus, the Mad Dog unloading